Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of March 15th through the 21st. And during that time, we have a waning crescent moon, which is a time of stability and calm, a good time for self-reflection. Then the new moon approaches, it comes in on the 19th. And of course, that's a time for a fresh start, new beginnings. I always like to think of it as like a mini happy new year, just happy new cycle. So it's a good time to make changes, start new projects, just do new things. And then we move into the waxing crescent energy for the rest of the week. And that's a time of heightened senses when we start to buckle down and get to work on those things that we want to make changes on this cycle. So that could be inner, outer changes. I mean, there's just so many different things that you might start, personal things inside. There might be work projects even that you want to start, new decisions. So anything like that. But keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So, as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is the energy is gaining momentum. All right, let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for this week. As I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder this week is that you pay attention in the universe for synchronicities. So maybe just be a little bit more hyper vigilant, a little more hyper aware. And this could be things like an animal that you encounter or repeating number patterns, that sort of thing. But all of those little synchronistic things that might happen in the universe, just try to pay a little more attention to those this week. All right, Aries, let's get into this reading. March 15th through the 21st. The energy is gaining momentum, and your present energy right now is the Strength card. So, what's ever coming for you is you're definitely strong enough for it, right? You've got the inner, outer strength to face whatever thing is coming at you, be it positive, negative, whatever this energy is that's coming. It just feels like sometimes the energy, when it's gaining momentum, it's like you're moving towards starting something, like towards that new moon energy, or sometimes it could just be that you are wrapping something up also. So, but whatever it is, just keep in mind that you are strong enough. Also, I love that this is an 8. It's one of my favorite numbers. I've seen so many 8s pop up in these repeating 8s. So we'll see what happens here. So your current situation right now, Aries, is your financial and material stability here with the 4 of Pentacles. So, are you strong enough to hang on to being that? Are you being tested when it comes to, your material stability? Are you being tested when it comes to maybe spending, overspending, not spending enough, maybe holding on a little too tightly here. So, some sort of energy is gaining momentum where maybe you do need to hold on tightly to these coins, or maybe you need to let them go. Let's see what happens as this reading comes out here. At the root of your situation this week is the 7 of Swords. So, 7 of Swords, it's just one of those cards that we're taught as tarot readers that this card is cunning, craftiness, theft, hidden agenda, that sort of thing. And it can be that. And sometimes I feel like, too, because it's swords, because it's air energy, I always wonder if that's the correct interpretation, because I see this as like maybe thoughts or ideas that you have, and that maybe you leave a couple. I see this as kind of a poker face hand, so that you might leave a couple of thoughts or ideas out for everyone to see, but some you just hold on to and maybe run off with. Maybe you just don't show everyone your hand. Like I said, kind of a poker face. So, that's at the root of the situation. Is there something that you have going on maybe within, or a project, something that you're working on that you don't want everyone to quite know all the details yet? um and so we'll see again as this reading comes out, and we'll look at the whole picture once all the cards get on the table. In your recent past here is you were thinking about, and maybe this has something to do with some new venture again that you're starting, because that is in your recent past. And this can be a card of new ventures, but also travel, that sort of thing. But with this new moon approaching, is there some project again that you want to start that's new, that might have something to do financially? It might be ideas that you've had and something that you've been thinking about. And maybe, is that energy gaining momentum so that you have the time, energy, and just the stars aligned so that you can start this new thing? Could be. And this could be, because it's material, maybe financial related, but also it can be related to your home. Maybe you're thinking about moving, buying your first house, buying a different house. Maybe you're, wanting to upgrade or even downgrade. It could be just some change that you're wanting to make, maybe in your material physical world. What's on your mind this week, Aries, is the Five of Wands here. So some debate and some, conversation about this, okay? And this could be, maybe you're seeking information or seeking advice. It could be that you're, debating, if it's a work project, maybe you're debating with colleagues like how to go about it. Doesn't seem negative. Debate can be very healthy. Just make sure that you're listening as much as expressing your own ideas. I always say that, but it could be that if it's a work project that you're just debating how things need to get done with other people, there might be some, just different ways of looking at things there. Or if it's, again, if it's this something in your personal life and something having to do with maybe your home, that, yeah, you may debate that with your family. This is the kind of house we want to live in, or this is the neighborhood we want to be in, or the school. So there's all those things that are up for, kind of up for debate and questioning, that make you, hone in on your decision. And all that does is kind of focuses you down to the place where you can make the best informed decision about anything. Once you have everyone's wants and needs in mind, you can kind of debate who can give up one thing to gain another. So, what is just ahead of you this week is the Temperance card. So, probably trying to keep that balance between everything and keep, I see the Temperance card as just this very calm, balanced, centered, the most so that's ahead of you this week. And I think, that some of this is a little chaotic, but I think you're going to be able to have those quiet moments where you can say, okay, I am going to take everyone's information and opinion, all of these different ways of thinking about this into mine, and then I'm going to have those balanced moments where I can, really, if you're the ultimate decision maker, come to a place where I'm making the best decisions for everyone around me. All right. In your advice position here is the Devil card. So don't let those false truths come in to derail you, and if this is the angel on one shoulder, here's the devil on the other. So make sure you're trying to listen as hard as you can for this angel instead of the devil, that is definitely going to be whispering those insecurities into your ear about, oh, you can, here's the angel like, oh, well, let's say this is a real estate situation, well, we can have this house and it has everything we want, and that, and the devil's like, mm-mm, nope. And all the negative things start to come out, nope, you can't afford that. Nope. What if this? But, so the advice is to, maybe because he's in your advice position, you might have to listen a little bit to what the devil says, but let's not let him rule over it. It's like, I'm going to see this as advice to watch out for the devil, watch out for those things that will come into your ear that are negative. Of course, you have to be realistic when you're making big decisions like this, but, again, some of those fears that come in from the devil are false fears. So, try to keep your balance and not let those things get into your head and kind of overrule the entire situation, because what it leads to is lack of confidence, will lead to you just not making a decision. That this can be, fear of success. This can feel, you know that it just puts like self-doubt, into your mind. It keeps your mind kind of closed minded to certain things. So try to keep the energy of that angel instead of those negative vibes of that devil coming into your head there. What is beyond your control this week is the Six of Cups. So beyond your control, that there's going to be something here that kind of touches on nostalgia, for whatever reason. I think you'll understand that when you get to it this week. Again, if this is a work situation, there might be someone that you're dealing with that reminds you of something of your past, or brings up something from your own past that is maybe something you're still working through, or it doesn't have to be negative. It can be a good memory, something someone that reminds you of someone positive from your past. But that's kind of beyond your control, that's going to be an element at play in this decision, or whatever it is that you're working on with this week. What is your secret desire, and what are you trying to avoid, is the Magician. Well, hopefully it's your secret desire, because this is manifesting, this is awareness, this is complete awareness, where you've got this angel and this devil on either shoulder. I feel like the Magician is right over your head, wanting you to make those correct decisions. This is the thing you've manifested. Are those things coming to fruition? Are you seeing those laid out before you? Don't get derailed by being really too overly positive or too overly negative. But I hope that is your secret desire. You could be trying to avoid those things, and that's leaning more towards the devil, is you're trying to avoid actual things that you've spent time in the past manifesting. So ask yourself that question this week. Is the magician, that energy of the magician, which is things coming to fruition, being able to make the choices of what element helps you, to get to your end goal. And is that what you really want this week, or are you kind of pushing that magician away this week? And your outcome, Aries, is the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a card about evolving and changing. The wheel in the sky keeps turning. I don't know where I'll be tomorrow, and that's because things do change, and they can change on a dime, right? There might be. I'm going to go back to the real estate model, even though tarot is a template, it can model over so many different situations. But since I started there, imagine that there was a house that you really really loved, and you thought, oh my god, this house is perfect. It's in the schools we wanted, it's in the neighborhood we wanted, it's got all the perfect things, and then someone got in and outbid you, or somehow it just got away from your hands, right? And all of a sudden, on a dime, that bid falls through, and you're the next person in line. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune is about. Just the fortunate thing that kind of comes in, but it changes things, and it changes on a dime with really none of your undoing. It's just the universe. If you've been manifesting, things just kind of work that way. Happy little things that happen. So, what is hidden from you this week, Aries, is things moving quickly. So, this seems like, this might be just a slow moving decision week, one thing a day. Debates are happening, questioning things. Again, Angel, and I think there's a lot of there's a lot of inner thought that's going on here too, things that are kind of swirling around in your head. So if you need to, I'm always real big about getting out a sheet of paper, pros and cons, that sort of thing, writing those sorts of things down so that you can get to these decision points and kind of really know what you want. So keep that in mind as you're going through your week also. All right, let's get you a wrap up card here, Aries. Final message for Aries for this week, where, let me see if I've missed anything through this reading. Yeah, I think, being strong through this, just having the strength to know that you can do whatever this decision thing that you've made, you are strong enough to get through it. It's something you've been manifesting and wanting, and go ahead and let it happen. Like, don't be too afraid of it. All right, final message here. Oh, the whole deck flying over there. Final message for Aries is to be patient. And I feel like there are some decisions again that go through. Hopefully, there is something at the end of the week that is that little Wheel of Fortune, that flip of like, oh, I didn't think this was going to happen. And wow, it happened. And I had no control over it. It just happened. So if that happens to you, please leave me a comment and let me know. I would love to know what happened. What was your Wheel of Fortune this week, and how did things change on a dime for you? So, all right, what does Aries need to do in the way of self care this week? Self-care for Aries this week, and it is the card called Calm. A breakdown is often followed by a breakthrough. Remain calm. There's your temperance card. So try to just remain calm through all of these things. Be very patient. The energy is gaining momentum. I think, we don't have a whole lot of things happening quickly this week, but you do have things happening and moving. It's kind of a slow roll into hopefully the thing that you've manifested. So, Aries, I wish you the best of luck with all of this. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what it is that you're going through. What have you manifested that you're waiting for things to kind of turn on a dime and happen for you? I'd be excited to know that. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe will help you find me next week. And I think that's pretty cool. So thanks so much for being here, Aries. Good luck with all of this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.